Hey, this is Dave Mason, and I just wanted to talk about my story with benzodiazepines. More specifically, I was on Ativan and clonazepam. The first time I was given Ativan was in the emergency room. I had been out hiking, and I suffered a panic attack while I was out on the trail. Uh, the background into that was I'd been in a very bad marriage, very stressful, uh, just like a constant stress going on all the time. And I guess my body just hit a point where it just couldn't deal with it anymore. And I had a panic attack. Never really dealt with anything like that. I thought I was having a heart attack. I thought I was dying. And I went to the emergency room, found out I was having a panic attack. Heart was perfect. And they gave me Ativan with a little, handout flyer and go home, and that was it. So I just started taking the Ativan, and I felt a lot better quickly. It was like a magic. And I think it was about 3 weeks after that, I just decided I didn't need it anymore, and I just stopped taking it. And about 2 days later, I was on the floor. Felt like my chest, the heart was just going to just pound right through my chest wall. I was sweating. I was climbing the walls. It was awful. I called my doctor and told him what was going on, and anyway, just he said that doesn't sound. What has gone? Yeah, well, I just stopped taking this med. Oh, you can't stop taking that. You have to taper off of it. So I had become dependent on this drug within 3 weeks. Nobody said anything, and it took me another 3 months or more to taper off of it. Just carving off a little bit each week to get to that. And I was not prepared for what life was going to be like when that stuff was not in my system. So, fast forward 2.5 years, I can deal with that a lot better. But at the time, what I didn't know then, what I wish I knew, was that I really needed a plan to come off of that stuff. I was not prepared or counseled or coached on what I would be dealing with when I come off of a medication like a benzodiazepine, and even and I've come off of antidepressants as well. Similar experience, although I found benzos much more severe. So, every time you would, so what will happen when you get off of the drug or start to taper is you're going to have rebound anxiety, depression. I found it worse than what I actually had in the beginning. And, if I would have known that, I may have done something else, but that's too late. But I found for myself, I had rebound anxiety and depression way worse than before I even took the medication. So you have to have a plan for knowing that's going to be coming. I had no idea what was going to be coming down the pipe. I wish I did. And I've learned some things, since then that I think will help you to deal with coming off of these medications. I don't think there's a smooth ride off of these, but to have the tools to know how to deal with it, I think will make a big difference. So, again, dealing with a tough divorce, I went to a psychiatrist. They wanted to put me on some antidepressants. So I had a very hard time getting on antidepressants after my experience of coming off of the Ativan. So I went to somebody else. They put me on clonazepam. Side effects not as bad. I don't know about that. I don't know how you would measure any of that, but I had some tools this time. So this is about 2 years later, and since that time, I had learned different techniques for managing my anxiety, depression. Currently, I'm a certified level 1 KRI Kundalini Yoga teacher. I teach classes. I go to classes. I have found Kundalini Yoga and some other things to be exceedingly valuable. I'm going to share those with you. So the one thing that I found in Kundalini Yoga was my nervous system was shot. I didn't realize how shot it was, the stress, the anxiety. It just wears you out. You may not even notice it. So before going off of medication, I started doing some yoga kriyas. One was Nabi Kriya, and the other was I did Kirtan Kriya and Inner Conflict Resolver. And there's some others too, which I may get into in some later videos. But one of the things I didn't realize was how weak I was, with my nervous system. So Nabi Kriya, which I would do every day, and I would really recommend doing it for 40 days before you even start a taper, is you want to strengthen your navel point. Your navel point is about 3 finger widths below your belly button. That's your navel point. And what I learned in Kundalini Yoga was this is where you deal with life. We think it's from here, maybe here, but I found it's really from my navel point. And having a strong navel point did a couple of things. I felt better. I started talking differently, and I was able to handle stress way better than I ever have in my entire life. Now, it doesn't mean you will have stress in life. It's unavoidable, but having a strong navel point will make a huge difference in coming off of this medication. So I started doing this Kriya Yoga, and I continue to do it. I still do it every day, but I continued to do it as long as I was doing the taper off of the clonazepam once I was on the antidepressant. And huge difference. Now, I'm not going to lie, once you go totally off, you will have to pay the piper. It took me about a week or two to really get my brain back, and way different experience having the tools versus no tools when I went off of the Ativan, a couple of years earlier than that. So, I have a regular yoga practice that I do to help me with, just dealing with life. And it's something that I will continue to do the rest of my life. So I've designed a protocol for you to follow. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. This is just what I did to help myself, get back on track in life. So, besides the Kundalini Yoga, one of the things I found very effective was going to a acupuncturist. And fortunately for me, there's a place called Modern Acupuncture. It's like a membership. I could just go in whenever I wanted. It was a lifesaver. Anytime I really had the withdrawals, I would just drop everything. I just drive over there and do it. Also, through a naturopath, you can do magnesium drips. Magnesium is like magic. Now, it's temporary, but if you're really climbing the walls, you can get a magnesium drip, and everything's great. It's relaxing to the system, and it just really takes the edge off. So, and there's other supplemental things that I did, including going on inositol. Again, you need to talk to a medical professional. But if you look up on Google, inositol has a same at a high enough dose, medically studied, has the same therapeutic value as does Prozac. So as I would taper off the one, I started going up on the inositol, and I found that helped a lot. I still take it. I put it in my water and I drink it every day. So, having a plan ready, which I did not do the first time, made all the difference in the world. Not to say that it was easy, but I found it was doable. And I hesitate to say more comfortable, but it made things more comfortable. And there were still some rough patches to deal with when coming off of benzodiazepines. For me, that's what I found. So, anyway, I had the contrast from going from the Ativan to the clonazepam, and I'm putting this material together for you to try for yourself to see what works for you. What worked for me may not work for you. So I also played with some other modalities, including tapping, and also TRE, trauma release exercising by Dr. David Berceli. Very, very effective in releasing stress from the body, much like an animal would after a fight or flight episode. So Anyway, you'll find more information on my blog, and hopefully it helps you. I'm also going to be putting an actual program that you can purchase with more information in depth that will make your journey off of this stuff hopefully easier. And I think there's a lot of spiritual growth that I've gained in the process as well, which I plan on sharing. So Sat Nam, and good luck with your mental health endeavors, and I will speak to you soon. Thanks.